welcome to Pops and Hisses, a music podcast where you hear from the artists that you love. I'm your host, Kevin Coffey, and I'm really excited for this episode. Recently, I sat down with Norman Blake from Scottish alt-rock band Teenage Fanclub. Teenage Fanclub's new album, Endless Arcade, is set to release April 30th on Merge Records here in the U.S., and it's their first since the departure of co-founder Gerard Love. And I sat down with Norman to talk about embarking on a new record with different but familiar personnel, recording it in Hamburg before the pandemic, and then spending extra time perfecting the record, and a whole lot more. Real quick, I want to remind you that you can listen to the Pops and Hisses podcast and find music news, reviews, and interviews at popsandhisses.com. But right now, I'm really excited for you to hear from Norman and Teenage Fanclub. Let's get into it.
Well, thanks for doing this. I'm excited to talk to you today.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, how's it been going during this pandemic? What have you guys been doing? I mean, there's no shows to play.
Sure.
You guys finished the album before, so.
Yeah, well, you know, we had finished the recording. So for the early part of the lockdown last year, we were mixing. We mixed Raymond from the band's home. He's got a sort of decent set of speakers and a sort of fairly good home studio set up, and we mixed it there over the course of a few weeks. So that gave us something to do at the start of the lockdown. But yes, since then not much, and I think it's about a year and a half since we played a show. So that's probably the longest we've gone without performing live. So it's been frustrating. Yeah,
30 years or more. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. But the great thing is though, and we were lucky that we did get to finish the album before this happened, because of course studios have been closed. So anyone else if we'd been planning to make the album a little later, then we wouldn't have done anything, and we'd still be waiting. And we've got some friends who are in that situation who haven't, Camera Obscura, we're supposed to be going into the studio last March or whatever, had to cancel. Because so that's been awful for them, but I'm sure they'll get in soon. Things are starting to change. So
I mean, that's really good for you guys. It's got to be weird to just be waiting, especially when you had the album done and now here you are more than a year after that, finally, and it's been delayed since too, so you're still waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, what there was a manufacturing issue, but it's unusual for us. We're normally right up against the deadline and beyond. That's normally our modus operandi. We're like, but this time, no, we were ready months before. It didn't mean that we could sort of make sure that we were really happy with the mixes. So that was good, Yeah, so 3 weeks to go until the record. I think just over 3 weeks now until it finally sees the light of day and we can move on to start thinking about something else.
Yeah,
which would be potentially the first shows. So we have some shows booked in for, I think, one for August and some shows in September. So it looks like they're going to happen. Hopefully.
That's really good. Have you guys even rehearsed or played together? I'm guessing probably not.
Well, we haven't. No, we did. We've made a couple of video clips. So we all got together for that, which meant that we played one song, sort of silently with playback or sort of acoustically on electric guitars about 60 times. So we've done that twice, but we
it's got that one down.
Yeah. It did give us the opportunity to sort of try and work out what we played on the recordings. So no, we've got we're planning to book a rehearsal studio fairly soon, and I think things are starting to open up here. So I think those should be opening in about a month.
Yeah.
So we'll try and get in there regularly, and maybe we'll get together at least once or twice a week.
Yeah,
so that's great. We're looking forward to that.
That's really great. Things here are, well, in a lot of places in the States, they were just open for no reason.
Yeah, okay,
kind of thing. But more and more people are getting vaccines and stuff, so it feels a little more comfortable to be around people, which is
it does, doesn't it? Yeah, and more people are being vaccinated. So I don't think we're. I mean, I'm the eternal optimist, so I don't think we're too far away from this. The worst part of this is definitely behind us now.
Yeah.
It just depends, or it's all really now down to how long it takes for things to open up again. Mm-hmm. I think things will actually, once people start feeling safer outside, things will happen pretty quickly, and it won't take us too long to be looking at this from a distance, and for things to be relatively back to normal. I'm hopeful that's how it'll be. Certainly.
I'm looking forward to concerts. I just haven't been to a live show in so long to watch one. A friend of mine was talking about feeling the bass drum in your chest.
Yeah,
there is that feeling you don't even think about until you haven't felt it for so long.
Exactly, music at that volume, and for us on stage, same thing. Just not being able to turn an amplifier up and play with the band, because we enjoy that. It's
right.
and we'll be missing that. So it's going to be great. And like you said, there's nothing like that level, that feeling, the visceral, and it totally is visceral. You're sort of feeling it in your stomach. So soon.
Yeah, that'll be good for you guys. You're touring around Europe, and then hopefully we can see you over here after that.
I think we've got 2-year visas, so hopefully they'll still be valid. But I think we definitely plan to come over and play some shows as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's great.
That's possible. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the album a little bit. For starters, what was it like to make an album without Gerard? I mean, this is the first record that's happened with, so that's got to feel a little different.
We did a little, but I guess at the same time, Dave, who has been in the band for about 15 years.
Yeah.
Well, firstly, we were aware that Jerry was going to leave the band. We did some shows with him at the end, and so that we kind of put out a press statement collectively. And so we did work for a few more months. So by the time we got to the studio, I guess that we kind of knew what was going to happen. So it wasn't as though it was a kind of dramatic split or anything.
Sure,
So we kind of were able to prepare for what was coming. So, but anyway, we get to the studio, and so Dave, we always thought of him as the new guy. He's been with us for about 15 years. Right. Dave was always on keyboards and guitar, but he's primarily a bass player. So when it came time to start making new music, it made sense for Dave to go on to bass.
Sure.
And then in terms of keyboards, we asked my friend Eros Childs from Gorky's Zygotic Monkey to come in.
And you've known him for a really long time, so that must have been really comfortable.
Yeah. Exactly. So it wasn't as though there were people coming in from the outside that we didn't know. Eros was kind of part of the family,
Right.
So maybe and also I think before we got to the studio, we'd done some gigs with this lineup. So maybe for the first few shows I looked left, Jerry wasn't there and he was there, but I think we did maybe before getting to the studio. Well, we actually did a tour. 30 shows or something like that. So it felt fine.
Felt great.
And then we got to the studio, and myself and Raymond had songs, and we just started recording, and it felt, I guess there's also a thing, any change, especially in bands, when you change lineups or something happens that changes the dynamic, it's kind of invigorating as well. You kind of want to explore what you can do with this new arrangement of people on instrumentation.
Yeah.
And so we were all really keen to get going and get working on this album, and it felt great. We had a really enjoyable time in Hamburg making it. So I think you can sort of hear that in the record. But actually, I think you can. Dave's bass playing is really unusual. It's really different than Jerry's, but it's
right.
He's got a very different style, and Eros has brought his idiosyncratic things with him, and his voice as well. So we just got down to working.
Right. Was it fun doing those shows? Those you said that those sort of 30 dates. Was it fun to kind of approach those older songs with the new guys doing different ways too? Yeah. That must have been fun.
It was. I think we made a decision quite early on that we didn't really feel comfortable doing Jerry's songs without him being there.
Right.
And we've got, the one thing, if you've been around for 30 years, it means that you've got a lot of songs. You've got a bit of a back catalogue. So we started to look at things, and I think especially Raymond's songs, because I think most of the singles were either my songs or Jerry's. That's maybe just the way that the label wanted to do that. Generally, we tend to let labels suggest singles. We're happy for anything to be a single. And I've always thought that we kind of neglected Raymond's songs, even because we've written equally on all of the albums. Mm-hmm. So it gave us a chance to go back and explore some of his things from the past. And we found lots of songs that we hadn't played in years, and so it was good. We started started sort of working on those, and that was really exciting for us to sort of bring these forgotten songs back to life. didn't mean that we had to try and remember the parts that we played on them, which wasn't so easy. But we got there in the end, Like we didn't have to go back to the multi-track tapes and isolate all the individual tracks and kind of work it out.
Yeah. So I've known plenty of musicians who have had to buy their old songs on iTunes.
It's amazing.
Like, I haven't played this in years. I haven't even listened to it in years.
It's a thing, right? Because very often with every album, there are maybe 3 or 4 songs that will stick and remain for the later, the following years. But most of them are kind of left behind with the album, And so there are lots of our songs that it would take me a bit of time to work out what was playing on them. But same for most musicians for sure.
For sure. And then, you were talking about kind of the songwriting stuff, and this is the first time you and Raymond really split the album together. So was it, it sounded like you guys had a lot of ideas coming into recording and a lot of songs written, so it probably wasn't any pressure or anything like that, but...
Yeah, I don't think it was. I think as a musician, you tend to have I'm sure most other musicians are the same as me, in that you have some finished songs and you've got lots of little fragments and ideas for songs, and then you'll maybe focus on a selection of those ideas, for the album. And so you've always got a few things in the background. But if you think about it, the way we had split the songwriting before was, I'd take 4, Raymond would take 4, Jerry would take 4. So really for myself and Raymond, it meant that we had to come up with 2 songs each if we wanted to have 12 songs, which we did in the end. So it wasn't that much of a stretch, really, because, like I say, we always have things floating around. So and it all came together pretty quickly, And also, I guess the fact that we hadn't released an album for 4 years meant that there was a reservoir there of ideas. So it was fine.
Yeah, that's great. It was interesting. I really like the record, first of all. Been listening to it a bunch the last few weeks since they sent it over, since Merge sent it over. And what I found was interesting is I know you made this long before we were all isolated and stuff, but there's lyrics about that, like, I had it written down. Back in the day, it has a line about life has gone away and it's not coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I think those are the musings of middle-aged men, late middle-aged men in their 50s. So maybe that, and facing mortality, perhaps that kind of fed into the way people are feeling about the pandemic. But you're right, some of these are the relatable situation that we've found ourselves in as the human beings. And a few people have said that to me. And quite a few people have spoken to thought that the album was written during the pandemic, and I had to say no, that it was all done before. It's coincidental. So it's purely coincidence. But
it really goes to tell you how even these things that we're going through right now really are somewhat universal experiences, whether it's happening right now or it's happening, you just feel lonely sometimes, even when it's
exactly. And yes, whether that be, in your mind or, whatever, definitely, we kind of write from the, a personal perspective and how we view our lives and the world and our place in it. That's how we write, So, we never, we spoke about this recently, about the fact that we never discuss each other's lyrics. Someone will come in and put down the lyric, but you just kind of, no one ever says, what's that about? We never do that. We don't go there. We just accept that someone's externalized their thoughts and feelings. And we don't. That's enough. We don't analyze each other's songs in that way. So I think you could say that we always write from our personal sort of perspective in terms of our place in the world, and how we're feeling at that time.
Yeah, for sure. So there's one song I was wondering about, but forgive me because I don't have the liner notes. So it was In Our Dreams. Was that you or was that?
That's one of Raymond's actually.
Okay.
And actually we're about to, we've just, that's the one with the wah-wah pedal at the top. One of Raymond's. We're actually just about to shoot a video clip for that tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So there you go. So that's going to, we're going to go, that's going to be the last track that we release before the album.
Oh yeah, before the album comes. So that one will be burned in your brain tomorrow.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, we actually did. We did a day of filming on Friday there, and I actually couldn't remember what I played, but I do now. I know what I played now.
Yeah.
Because we ran over questions.
Times.
It's capoed on the 7. Oh yeah, I got it now. So yeah, it was a good opportunity to work. That's another one, marked off the list.
Right.
To learn.
Good practice.
Yeah, sure.
We're getting to the end of the time I think we have, but one thing I want to ask was about a Catholic education. So last year was its 50th birthday, and a lot of bands do those sort of nostalgic tours and play the thing again. And you did some of those shows. Well, now it's 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing like a longer tour for one of those records? And do you ever even revisit those albums for a listen? I know some artists do. Some artists kind of don't ever listen to them.
Well, not often, but I don't know if you're aware of a thing called the Tim's Twitter listening parties. Tim Burgess of the Charlatans has done this thing, and it's really great actually. And they have people listen. You pick a specific album and you listen to it, and then you have the artist listen along and then sort of comment or and whatever with anecdotes and whatever. And so that's that we've done 2 of them. We did Bandwagon-esque and Grand Prix. And so normally I don't listen to. I get more pleasure listening to other people's music, right? But actually, it's occasionally it's nice to go back and listen to them. And it was nice to go back, with the Tim's Twitter listening parties and listen after I maybe listen to the albums once every few years. I did, however, listen to Catholic Education quite recently, a month or so ago, and I somehow had the notion to wonder what that sounds like. And actually, I thought it sounded fine. I don't know what I was trying to do with my sort of vocal style. I've got a bit more of a drawl, or I don't think I quite found my voice, but it wasn't a completely unpleasant experience. Let's put it that way. It didn't sound so bad.
Because it's hard to listen to your own stuff and not find all the flaws, whereas everyone else finds the good things. You listen to go, oh, I messed that up. Right.
Yeah, that's all you do. You just find fault in it, and you just think of the things you could have done to improve it. You kind of don't. You just don't listen to the. I do the same when I listen to someone else's album. Because I think when you've made an album, you can sort of hear all of the parts and you can break it all down. But when I listen to other people's music, I just hear the whole thing, and I just have to imagine what the studio was like and what the dynamic is between the musicians and whatever, But when you've been right in the middle of it, you can't do that,
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, those listening parties are really cool, and you're fun to follow on Twitter too.
Oh, thanks. Okay, well, let's see. I enjoy doing them, and it's funny. The thing is, though, Tim told me before I did them. Some people have said to me, "God, you're really good at typing." And so what you do is you actually do a bit of prep, right? So what you do is you have a listen through the record, and then you sort of think, you sort of think what you'd like to say about each track, and then you write it down.
Yeah.
A couple of days before. So what you have to do is very quickly cut and paste into into Twitter as the thing goes along. So that was a good tip. But yeah, people have said to me, "It's amazing! You're so good at typing. You should, take a job at typing pool or something like that." But yeah, no, that's how I did it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I really like the record, and I'm really looking forward to when you guys can hit the road and come over here, whenever that might be.
Oh, thanks. Whereabouts are you, Kevin?
I'm in Omaha, Nebraska.
I thought it was. I saw Central Time. Yeah.
Yeah, Central Time. So, man, I do not remember the last time you guys came through here, but we'll see if you guys can make it work.
That would be great. We've driven through your part of the world fairly recently, but yeah, we've not done that many shows.
Sure.
But of course we would love to, because it's always fun going and seeing somewhere new, and so amazing. So hopefully, Kevin, I can see you over there. Definitely. I want a fine local ale somewhere in a bar.
I'll show you around if you ever come to town.
you got a deal there for sure. Yeah, that's great.
Well, thanks so much for your time today. It was really great talking to you.
Thanks for listening to my talk with Norman Blake of Teenage Fanclub here on Pops and Hisses. Subscribe to the Pops and Hisses podcast on your favorite podcast app, or head to popsandhisses.com, where you can listen to the podcast, find more music news, reviews, interviews, and of course, lots more podcast episodes. I'm your host, Kevin Coffey, and you can follow me on Twitter as @OmahaMusicGuy, or find my page on Facebook by searching for my name, Kevin Coffey, my last name spelled Coffey. Thanks to Hurrdat Media for producing the show, and I encourage you to check out Hurrdat's network of podcasts. There's entertainment, there's sports, there's fitness. We've got all of it. Find it all at hurrdatmedia.network. hurrdat.com/network. That's HURRDAT media.com. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
A Hurrdat Media Production.